set the goals of your organization as a team, right? How much money do you want to make this year as a team? How many sales do you want to have as a team? Share this information. Like, I make it as public as I can. How many new clients are we bringing on? How many people are we serving right now? How much money are we spending on ads just to like bring business in, right? Like, I share this information with everybody so that we're all on the same page. We know what's going on. They know that I'm as committed as they are. So you gotta point the direction that you're going. Point the direction that you're going. Lead your team there. Show them how close you're getting. Show them the steps that need to happen, and show them that you're in the trenches with them working. They need a leader who's going to be able to do the steps and the actions that they're willing to put forth. 80% of your income is made on 20% of your results. So try to increase that 20% results to maybe 30% this next quarter, and maybe 40% the next quarter, because it's gonna allow you to do more and more things. So understanding your past business and what you've done this year, and maybe this market's different than it was last year. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Thanks again for being here. First off, happy Thanksgiving. This is Thanksgiving week. No matter when you're watching this, happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully your guys' holidays are going fantastic. I love this time of the year when you're really just gonna get a step back for a moment, look at your business over the last 12 months and see where you've gone and project where you're going, right? I'm huge into goals, huge into setting ambitions and really determining where my life is going. So if you haven't set your 2020 goals yet, you definitely need to. Even if you're watching this and it's 6 months into 2020 into the future, set your goals, have a plan, determine what you're doing. Okay, guys, today we're talking about the fun topic of sales. This is not something that I love. I will tell you that I have pushed against sales. I've struggled with sales my whole entire life, but I can tell you that I'm really good at it. I just don't like doing it every single day. But I figure I will impart my wisdom on you guys and share a little bit of how I got into sales and some of the things that I use in my life to help me close people and help me really understand the objections that they're giving and the pain points that they have and how to overcome those hurdles so that you can get them hopefully what they're looking for. It may not even be your product, right? You may not have the perfect solution to them, but at least you can now find it and provide it to them when you identify what that is. So let's get into today's questions. As always, these questions come from you. So if you haven't had a chance to submit your question into the show, send us a direct message on Instagram or Facebook and we'll be happy to plug this show. Holy cow, I can't talk today. Happy to plug your question into the show in future months, in future week. Okay, Ben, this is gonna be a rough show, I can already tell. Anyway, question number one, what advice can you give me to be better at sales? Okay, so I got into sales, like I said, back in college days, 20 years ago or so. And back then I was doing anything I could to make money because I'm like, I gotta go to school full time and I gotta pay for it. So what am I gonna do to make money? I couldn't go out and get a full-time job because I had to go to school from like 8 till 3 or 4. So that kind of eliminated things, but I had the weekends and I had after 3 o'clock and I had a day off here and there, right? I would try all sorts of stuff. I would try selling things on eBay, like buying it low, selling it high, kind of like the Gary Vee model. I would go out and sell door to door. I sold, I sold alarms, I sold satellites, I sold information, I sold cell phones actually for a long time before they're actually even cool, back in the flip phone days. That was fun at the mall. Yeah, so anyway, I've sold a lot. And I think one of the things that I've learned is that you have to listen, right? There's this huge billboard that I remember seeing in Utah a long time ago and had these huge ears on the side of the billboard. And then I think it had one mouth in the middle, and I don't remember exactly what it said, but something along the lines like, we listen more than we speak. And it was for a car dealership because obviously car dealerships sell a lot of inventory. You come in, you want to test drive something, you're wanting to see what they have, do I want a truck? Do I want an SUV? What color do I want? What options do I want? And they're there to listen, right? Because most people go there and they're like, I want this, this, and this. Do you have it? And then they have to work on the price and financing and all that kind of stuff. So as you sell in real estate, what are some of the things that you can do? Well, you're going to have a buyer who probably wants something very specific, right? If you're a model home agent and you represent all the homes in a community that a builder's built. I just went to a model home this weekend just to get some tile ideas for our new remodel. And man, that agent looks so bored just sitting there. No offense to you if you're one of those new construction agents. It's very consistent and you get really good at what you do. But it may be the stepping point to something else in our future. I know a lot of agents who start out in one of those model homes and it works really well because you really get to know your scripts and you figure out what it is you're doing, but you listen, right? Because you only have 5, 10 different options that those buyers can buy depending on what colors and layouts they want. If they don't want what you have to sell, as a model home agent, you can't sell them anything because you don't have anything else to offer. But as a normal real estate agent who's out there with the whole MLS and everything out there to offer, here's the trick. You got to listen. You got to know what they want and you got to ask the right questions. One thing that somebody told me early on was ask your new clients 500 questions so that you only have to show them 5 houses. If you only ask them 5 questions at the very beginning, you're gonna end up showing them 500 houses. So start asking more questions and really listening to the answers. And don't just say, do you want a pool? Yes or no. If they say, yes, I want a pool, be like, great, tell me more about that. Why do you want a pool? Do you want more of a hot tub? Do you want a warm pool? Do you want a diving pool? Do you want, a kidney-shaped pool, a square pool? Do you want a cover over the pool? Are your kids gonna wanna swim in it every single day of the year? Like, do we need a heater and do we need solar? Do they want more of like an out of the ground kind of hot tub type pool where you can put jets and have swimming to it and all that kind of stuff? Why do you want a pool, right? And if you listen, they're gonna tell you. That's the beauty of it. If you ask questions and you listen twice as much as you speak, you're gonna get the answers that you're looking for. And they're gonna tell you, look, we want a pool. Our kids, they love to swim. They want to be in it all year long. We want to heat it up on Christmas and have everybody over. I know families who do this. They heat it up to like 90 degrees on Christmas Eve and everybody comes over and they have a blast, right? If you want that type of a lifestyle, you're going to have to find that type of a pool. Now you get into the rest of the house, right? Do you want a single story or do you want a 2-story? If they say, I want a single story, don't just say, okay, check, let's go find a bunch of single stories. Start asking them why. What's important about a single story house to you, right? Is it so that you can age in the house and live here longer and you don't have to worry about going up the stairs later? Is it the fact that you don't like stairs? Is it the fact that maybe you have an old dog who can't do stairs and they want to roam around on the main level and you want to be able to accommodate this pet of yours, right? What's important to you about having a single level home? So ask all these questions and get detailed. Every time you ask a specific question about the home, right? Do you want 1-story or 2-story? Ask 5 or 6 more questions deep about that. Why is this important to you? If you aren't able to find a single story home, would you consider a 2-story home? If absolutely not, do not show them 2-story homes, okay? And I know everybody says buyers are liars because they don't know what they want and they're gonna buy something that they said they didn't want. But for the most part, if you ask the right questions and you truly get in their head and understand what they're looking for, your job is gonna be so much easier. Now let's talk about the selling side. When you're selling a home, what do people want? Well, they want to sell their house for the most amount of money with the easiest agent, right? They don't want to have tons of negotiations. They don't want to have to go back and forth. They don't want to have to counter on the price a bunch. They really don't want to fix up the home, but in the end, that's how they increase their value the most on that property. They don't want to have a bunch of showings. They don't want to have a bunch of open houses. They really don't want to move out of the house and have the house staged, or anything like that. But those are the things that get the house sold. So you have to sell them on these things saying, look, your most important thing is what? Time, easiness of offers, somebody with cash who can close quick or somebody with finance who might take 45 days. What's more important to you? A higher price or ease of closing, okay? What's more important to you? A whole bunch of showings or just one to the right buyer, right? I know some houses, they don't do showings. You just sight unseen, make an offer. Once you're under contract, we'll go from there. It's a pain in the butt for the buyer's agent, but sometimes that happens. So you've got to find out what your clients are looking for in that transaction. Listen, right? Ask the questions and listen. That's all it takes. The other side of it is you've got to sell people on needing a real estate agent. A lot of you guys are going to call FSBOs, right? You're going to call expired, you're going to call circle calling, and they may not even think about moving. It might be so far down the road. I've heard so many times, when I ask somebody, are you going to be selling your house in the near future? And they say, the only way I'm moving out of this house is in a pine box, meaning they're going to die in the house, right? Like, okay, well, is there anything else that might cause you to sell this house? And then they're going to give you some more answers, right? But asking more questions, getting more specific, helping them understand the value of what you bring to this relationship. That's super important. Most people look at real estate agents as a commodity. They think that we're all the same, that we do the same thing, that, $1 million house, $100,000 house, there's really no difference in what the agent does. We know that's not true, but for the most part, most homeowners do. They don't value you guys as much as you should be. And so you've got to sell yourself on what you do, right? You've got to bring your best game to the offer. You've got to show them how you stand out as an agent, how you help people sell your house or their houses for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 more, how you sell it faster than the typical days on market on the MLS, how you do it, how you get multiple offers on a house instead of just single offer like a lot of agents do. What is it that you do that's different than anybody else? How can you stand out? Those are the things that are going to help you sell your services. So again, listen, provide more value, and answer the questions that they're looking for, right? If they ask you, what are you going to do different than all the other agents that I interviewed for this job? Well, you better have something that's different. You better bring some A game to this and offer something that no other agents are. If staging's a big thing for this house and it's super dated, maybe you have to pay for staging, right? Maybe you have to come in and bring an interior designer to move their furniture around and make it look amazing, and nobody else is willing to do that. They just want to get those pictures up in the MLS and start taking the buyer leads. That's usually a priority of most agents. So how are you going to stand out and offer that client something that nobody else is doing? Don't just hold the open house, and don't just get your house on the MLS, and don't just take a bunch of photos. Make that house shine. Show them how you're going to make them more money. Show them how you can do it quicker, how you can make this massive burden in their life going on right now selling their house easier than anybody else can. And that's how you can win. Okay, so again, how do you get better at sales? Ask questions. The last thing I would bring up to this point is to know your objection handlers. Okay, so you're gonna get responses when you're calling people, say, no, we're good, or you know what, we're for sale by owner, and the reason why is because we don't want to pay a real estate commission. Or maybe it's an expired listing and they say, you know what, we had it listed for 3 months, the agent couldn't sell it. I think we're just gonna live in it for the next couple of years and see if the market will come up to where we want, right? They're overpriced. You know, there's a bunch of things you're gonna get. Know the objections you're gonna get when you're calling, when you're out there lead generating, when you're meeting with clients, when you're at their doorstep trying to pitch them on listing their house with you. What are the objections that you're gonna get? Practice the responses, right? I talked about this the other day, actually. I had a, what's the word I'm looking for? Not accountability partner, a script partner. Every single morning on my way to work for 30, 45 minutes, we would go back and forth on our objection handlers, on our scripts, on our FSBO calls, on our expired calls, every single day for 30 minutes. That became 2.5 hours of practice every single week. That's how I got so good at what I did. Plus that and making a whole bunch of calls, thousands and thousands and thousands of calls later, I became really good at calling people, really good at being on the phone in real estate. And that's how we found so much success in our business, honestly, is because of practicing, knowing the objections, training, role playing, all that kind of stuff. We built out a whole sales team that was on the phone every single day because I just made it my goal in life to be good at this one thing, selling, okay? So when you have that much effort and you put that much energy into it and you learn your trade better than anybody else, that's how you stand out, right? Learn how to handle the objections that you're gonna get. Know the scripts that you're gonna use. Don't just try to mumble through it and figure out what you're gonna say when you get to that moment. Put the scripts on your wall when you phone call if you need it. You know, go through those dialogues. Practice on your spouse if you need to. Every time I teach a class, whether it's live or on a webinar or anything like that, I actually go through the whole presentation with my wife, have her work out all the spelling errors that I have in there, all the little kinks. Is there anything that didn't work? Is there anything that didn't make sense that I try to explain it? Just have somebody to bounce these things off of you. It can, or off of them, I guess. It can be super helpful for you. Anyway, that's my suggestion for how to get better at sales. Just keep practicing, keep understanding what your clients are looking for, and keep listening. Okay, question number 2. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, who are you grateful for? You know what? I brought up my wife for a second there, and I'm super grateful for her. She motivates me, she pushes me, she drives me, she encourages me. She's the biggest support to me in my life, and I totally appreciate her. So if she ever chooses to watch this, which I don't know that she does, I know she watches some of our content, but I appreciate her so much. She takes care of our kids. She pushes me in business. She gets me excited about new things. She pushes me to try new things that I may not have ever considered before, and I appreciate that about her. In addition to her, I appreciate business partners that I've had. I appreciate, like I said before, role play partners who get me on the phone even when I don't want to be on the phone. They encourage me to try harder and to do new things as well. I really appreciate and I'm grateful for my team and all that they do for us. We have video editors and podcast editors and writers and email campaign writers and social media marketers and just this amazing staff of awesomeness over here. And I appreciate you guys. And I know that you guys are each gonna watch this video because we gotta edit it and we gotta distribute it and we gotta put it all out there. So when you do watch this, just know that I appreciate you guys so much. So that's who I'm grateful for, that and my family. They are awesome and I appreciate their support. So if you're in that situation where you don't have a supportive family, figure out how to support them, because when you support them, they're gonna support you. When you put them first in your life, they're gonna put you first in their life. That's one thing that I can tell you for sure. So there you go. Okay, question number 3. When you're put into a position of leadership, I like this one. How do you change the culture of the organization for the better? Okay, so this is really saying is when you're put into a position of leadership, how do you change it and get them to do what you want? Not in a Hitler kind of way, but more of a, like, we're trying to accomplish great things, right? I've led a lot of teams. I've had a lot of businesses with multiple people in it. And one thing I can tell you is that you lead by example. I've come back from Tony Robbins events. I've come back from, workshops and boot camps and courses that have taught me amazing things. And I want to share that information with my team. And I want to get them on the same level, right? Like we're all pretty close to even, and then I'll go to some event and I'm up here and now I want them to come up here with me. So I've got to lead by example. I've got to teach the things that I want them to learn and do in their own life. So some of the things that we do around here, we have a book club. Every single month we read a book together. We talk about it. We pontificate about the things that come up in it. Usually they're 150 to 200 plus page books. Some of us read them really quick and consume them. Some of us need a little bit more pushing. You know who you are, guys. But read the books together. Let the group pick which books you're going to read. These should be business books. They should be sales books. They should be development books, basically like self-improvement books that are going to help you guys. Find books that are going to help rally you guys together. Every time I go to an event, I come back and I teach my team what I learned, right? So if I went to a Tony Robbins event for 4 days, I come back and I share the things I learned. Sometimes there might be 50, 60 things and it might take a while for us to go through them, but I try to download my group on everything that I've done. When I had my real estate team in Utah for a while, it was mostly a bunch of guys on the phone and a property manager. And it was a brunt team, I'll tell you that, because we were dealing with some tough situations. And those guys were super willing to learn and open-minded and able to just absorb a lot of information. So I remember role playing with them and we would go through sales training, and I was like huge into sales back then, just trying to learn as much as I possibly could about getting better at sales. And that's why I appreciate question number one. But I would encourage them and share my information with them. So you have to lead by example. You have to do what you want them to do, right? You can't be the dictator up there saying, do this, do this, do this, and you're not willing to do it yourself. So if you want people to be on time for work, you better be on time for work. If you want people to get better at sales, you better get better at sales. If you want people to role play on your team, you better role play on your team. If you want people to read books, you better be reading books. You have to do the things that you want your team to do first, and then they're gonna follow. So figure out the direction that you want your organization to go. Set the goals of your organization as a team, right? How much money do you wanna make this year as a team? How many sales do you wanna have as a team? Share this information. Like, I make it as public as I can. How many new clients are we bringing on? How many people are we serving right now? How much money are we spending on ads just to bring business in, right? Like, I share this information with everybody so that we're all on the same page. We know what's going on. They know that I'm as committed as they are. So you gotta point the direction that you're going. Point that way. Point the direction that you're going. Lead your team there. Show them how close you're getting. Show them the steps that need to happen, and show them that you're in the trenches with them working. They need a leader who's going to be able to do the steps and the actions that they're willing to put forth. Okay. So that's question number 3. Last one as we wrap this up. Question number 4. And I like this question a lot too. These are great questions. I want to move people towards real estate investing. How do I do that? Okay. So coming from over a decade of real estate investing and getting into flips and wholesaling and rental properties and passive income and all that great stuff. That's really what's got my start in real estate and just got me where I am today, I think, for a big part of it. So I love real estate investing. I love the fact that you can take some money and make it into more money. I love the fact that you can have no real estate experience and quickly learn from courses and from other people and having mentors how to do great things and turn that into an amazing lifestyle that you can enjoy forever. So when I first got started in real estate, the things that I was passionate about was construction, because that's where I came from, right? I came from a construction background. I like turning old things into new things. So I got into flipping. We basically take these beat down, uninhabitable houses, and within 2, 3, 4 weeks, we turn them and they'd be these amazing, beautiful homes with everything brand new. New electric, new plumbing, new HVAC, new kitchens. We'd move walls, we'd put on new roofs, new windows. It was just craziness for 3 or 4 weeks. And then we had a happy homeowner and we'd move on, right? We'd sell the house, we'd take our profit, we moved on, and to the next one, the next one, the next one. As I got more passionate about real estate, I got into owning rental properties, and that was exciting too. It took a lot longer. Like, it was not as exciting as flipping, because within 3 weeks you could make 20, 30, 40, 50 plus $1,000s on a flip. And I'm talking like Utah real estate prices here, not California. But in rental properties, you'd buy a piece of property and you might cash flow like $50 every 30 days. So super boring. But when you look at the long term and what a decade can do for real estate, that's when it gets really exciting. I've had properties that have more than doubled in 10 years. And that's what's fun about real estate, is the more patient you are, the more money you can make. And I think that, to answer this question is, how do you get people excited about real estate? Talk to them about their goals, right? Again, ask questions. It's not that hard. Ask people, you know what? You've lived in this house for 10 years. You work full time. Yeah, this is talking to your prospective clients or past clients or people that you've worked with. You've lived here for all this time. You've got this great job. What are you gonna do when you retire? Where's your money gonna go? What type of this is my best friend, or one of my friends' best questions that he asked. What type of a cash on cash return are you expecting at retirement? Meaning, if I have $100,000 in the bank, which is not enough money, by the way, what are you expecting that money to do when you retire at 65 or 60 or 40 or whatever age you decide to retire? What are you expecting that money to do for you? What's the expected ROI, return on investment? And have them just get the gears turning. And if they're like, you know what, I want to make 20%, well, how in the world are you going to make 20%? What are you going to do to get 20%? And that may be like way out there impossible. trouble. But maybe they're like, you know what, I just want 12%, or I want 6%, or maybe just 2% would work. And if they have a low number like 2 or 3%, what if I could get you more percent? Or what if there's an opportunity for you to make more money on your investment? And obviously you need to know what you're doing. And you're not gonna become I can't think of the term right now, so I'm not gonna go that way. You gotta know your numbers, you gotta know what you're talking about. You need to be confident in what you're talking about, right? And have some great examples. And the thing is you're not trying to get your clients into trouble and have them buy shady deals or investments. You're trying to help them open their eyes, see what's possible with real estate. Meaning that if I was gonna go buy it, and I'm just using easy numbers here, so you guys can add a 0 to this if you need to, or make the math work for you. But let's just say I was gonna go buy a $100,000 property as a second property, not a second home, but a second property as an investment property. I would typically need to put down about 20 to 25%, depending on where your credit is, right? And so if I was gonna go put down 20% on a $100,000 house, that would be, $20,000. So what is my $20,000 gonna do for me? If I go put that in the bank, right, it's gonna make me 0.00005%, something like that. If I put it in the stock market or something like that, it might make me like 2 to 5, 6, 10%, somewhere in there. You might have some CDs, some other options out there, but typically it's gonna make like 2 to 5%. But if I go put that into a $100,000 property, I'm gonna have an $80,000 loan, which is probably gonna cost me about $400 per month, $400 to $450, depending on HOAs and insurance and all the other little applicable things that happen to you, right? So let's just call it $500 to be fair, because you might have property management and all that in there. So $500, I might be able to rent this $100,000 home for maybe $800, maybe $1,000 a month. Let's just call it $1,000. I know that's really high, but I wanna make the math easy for you guys to follow along. If I said, okay, you're gonna invest $20,000, you're gonna go get a loan, and you're gonna be paying $500 a month in a mortgage, but you're gonna be making $500 a month. How much money is that per year? Well, you're gonna be making $500 a month times 12 payments, that's $6,000. How long does it take you to get your money back if you're getting $6,000 and you have to put down 20? Basically 3.5 years, right? Somewhere around there. 3 years is $18,000 and maybe a couple months later. Okay, so 3.5 years, you get back all your money. Now what happens over 3 years? Does the property stay the same? Does it go down in value or does it increase? Who knows? It could do all of those. But over a period of time, all real estate appreciates. Unless there's some natural disaster by you and your house is taken out by a tornado or a hurricane or an earthquake or a fire or something like that, and you don't have insurance, hopefully you have insurance on these properties, your house is gonna increase in value. So not only do you get cash flow, you get all your original investment back, but now you have appreciation too. And I have no idea what appreciation is gonna be for you. It's gonna be different in Florida than it's gonna be in New York, and it's gonna be different in California as well. Everywhere is different. I've had properties though in a matter of 5 or 6 years that have doubled in value, from 100,000 to 200,000. Yes, that can happen in the right markets. It's probably not gonna happen in this market right now, but it's happened in the last decade. So realize that you get cash flow, you get appreciation, you get all these great things with that $20,000. However, if I were to go put that money in the bank, right, and I make my 5, 10%, if I had 10%, that would only be $2,000 per year that I'm making. And it's just on my $20,000, not on my $100,000 investment. You see now how real estate investing can be such a magical experience when you do it right. You don't have to go buy every piece of real estate you find. You don't even have to buy an apartment complex or much at all. You can just buy a single family house, a $100,000 piece of property, right? Do your numbers, know your math, work through the equation, and help your clients understand the benefit of it. And the beauty of working with real estate investors is that they buy multiple times, right? The average buyer right now or the average homeowner in San Diego County sells their home once every 13 years. So if I'm brand new into real estate and I sell my first client a house, I have to wait 13 years for them to ever do anything again. But if I convert that client into a real estate investor, they're probably gonna buy at least once a year, if not more often, and maybe even like every 3 or 4 years if they turn and they only buy a few pieces of property. But still, that's better than once every 13 years. So work with your clients, get to know who they are, ask them questions, right? Ask them about their life, ask them about their work, their employment, their income, their financial goals. You are the real estate agent here. Real estate investing is a form of investing. It's a form of retirement. Why not bring it up, right? Why not be the expert of everything in your field? Now be careful because you can get yourself into trouble. There's a lot of red flags and things you need to be worried about, but know what you're looking at. Read books, go to seminars, find old dudes who are 70, 80 years old who have so much information to share because they've been doing it for 30, 40 years, and they can tell you everything to be aware of and to look out for and to focus on, and they're gonna help you help your clients buy more real estate. So that's my story. I love real estate investing. I know that it can be a form of massive wealth for us here in the United States. I know that it can create endless opportunity. And I know that you can leverage your money. You can leverage other people's monies. You can partner with people together. You can leverage debt, meaning like going to get a mortgage on that $80,000. Some debt is great debt. If you follow Grant Cardone, he talks a ton about getting into real estate debt and what partners can do for you. I think the last transaction he bought was something like $300 or $400 million, where he teamed up a bunch of people together and went out and bought a massive apartment complex, I think down in Florida or Georgia or somewhere down there. So guys, have your clients become repeat clients. The more they buy, the more money you make, right? The more money you make, the more money you should be putting into real estate investing. So that's the end of my show today, guys. So get better at sales. Talk about what you're grateful for this week. It's Thanksgiving. Go out and serve somebody. Find a way to give back. Use some of that awesome commission money that you're making to give back to people who in need. That's my goal for this year, is to give back to more people, help them with things that they struggle with. Give a percentage of everything that we make, right, to somebody who needs it more than I do. And be a great leader, right? You guys are the leader of your business. You have an impactful opportunity to change your business, to change your life, and to change those lives of those you work with. And then help your clients figure out how to get into real estate investing. And if they're not there, if you're not there, you should, right? You gotta drink your own Kool-Aid to sell it. So figure that out. Anyway, guys, I'm Erik Hammond. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate the willingness to learn, to educate, to be better at your trade. Keep going, keep pushing, keep trying, keep doing these things, guys, and keep showing up. Appreciate it. Enjoy your fantastic holidays, and we will see you, I think, in December. All right, bye guys, make it a great one.